Imagine standing in an open field during a storm, the sky splitting with sudden brilliance, a jagged streak of lightning illuminating everything for an instant, and yet, before the roar reaches your ears, there is a pause, a suspended moment where the world holds its breath. That pause is not merely a trick of perception, it is a profound lesson in the nature of reality itself. Lightning and thunder are born at the same moment, yet we perceive them differently because of the remarkable difference in their speeds. Light, racing at nearly 186,000 miles per second, reaches your eyes almost instantly, while sound, sluggish by comparison, at about 1,100 feet per second, lags behind, dragging the thunder into our consciousness after the fact. In that delay, there is a subtle teaching about life, about understanding, and about the human mind. Richard Feynman often marveled at these everyday phenomena, insisting that the universe is teaching us lessons constantly, if only we are willing to notice. He believed that curiosity is the highest form of intelligence, and in the small, transient moments, the flash of lightning before the thunder, the ripple of understanding before comprehension, we find the spark of learning. Life, in its own way, works much like this phenomenon. We often see possibilities before we feel their consequences, we glimpse opportunities before we hear the full weight of responsibility, and we encounter inspiration before the echo of effort follows. To live thoughtfully, then, is to observe the world with both attentiveness and patience, to understand that immediacy does not equate to completeness. Just as the eyes capture light instantly while the ears wait for sound, our perception is always layered, teaching us that the order in which we experience reality is not always the order in which it unfolds. There is suspense in this delay, a tension that invites reflection. It asks us to be aware of both the seen and the yet to be heard, to consider the speed of our own reactions and the depth of our own understanding. When Feynman spoke about observing the world, he often emphasized that noticing small things, the particular way a raindrop slides down a window pane, the subtle difference in pitch between two sounds, the pause between a flash of lightning and the clap of thunder, was not trivial. It was a portal to a deeper awareness, a bridge between curiosity and wisdom. In observing lightning and thunder, one might simply enjoy the drama of the storm, but one could also use it as a metaphor for the mind. The immediacy of insight followed by the slower, resonant realization, the way ideas spark quickly, but understanding takes time to echo through the corridors of thought. Every moment in life, like that interval between light and sound, carries a lesson in patience and perception, reminding us that knowledge is not just about what we see or hear first, but how we integrate those moments into a coherent understanding of the world around us. And so, in that brief, electric pause, there is not only wonder but also guidance, a natural philosophy that whispers to those willing to listen. The delay between lightning and thunder is more than a scientific curiosity. It is a mirror of the human experience, a reminder that cause and effect, effort and result, are rarely simultaneous. In life, as in nature, there is a rhythm to understanding, a sequence that demands patience and attentiveness. Richard Feynman often spoke about the joy of uncovering simple truths hidden in plain sight, the way observing the ordinary could ignite extraordinary insight. When you see lightning, you are witnessing energy unleashed in a perfect instant, a revelation of the natural world's power and precision. Yet the thunder follows only after the air has carried the sound toward you, reminding us that every effect has its journey. This journey, slow though it may seem, carries meaning. It teaches that anticipation is as valuable as realization, that understanding is layered and cumulative. If we apply this principle to our personal growth, we see that our achievements, ideas, and discoveries are often preceded by moments of invisible preparation, efforts unnoticed, failures unrecorded, experiments uncelebrated. The suspense in the gap between light and sound mirrors the suspense in our own lives, when we cannot immediately measure the impact of our choices, when we wonder if our actions are making a difference, and yet the results are quietly advancing toward us, like the rolling thunder approaching across a vast sky. Feynman's approach to science was deeply human. He treated curiosity not as a task, but as a living process, one that thrives in the tension between observation and comprehension. To embrace that tension is to live with both humility and excitement, to understand that waiting does not mean wasting, that reflection enriches insight. Every time you see lightning before hearing thunder, consider it a lesson in patience, a lesson in timing, and a lesson in the unpredictability of perception. The delay challenges us to pay attention, to measure, to calculate, to guess the distance of the storm not by fear but by the careful counting of seconds. And in that practice, we learn something far more enduring than weather mechanics. We learn the art of attentive living. There is a hidden power in noticing, in understanding that what is immediately visible is not always the whole truth. The light arrives first, but the sound carries the weight, the confirmation, the reality of what has already occurred. It is a poetic illustration of life's duality. Our ideas, our intentions, our inspirations often arrive ahead of their full expression, and yet, with patience and observation, the echo of effort will always catch up. Suspense, therefore, is not merely dramatic, it is instructive. It reminds us that timing matters, that sequences matter, that we must learn to inhabit the moments between observation and understanding. Feynman saw this in everything: the mechanics of the universe, the dance of particles, the sparkle of a lightning bolt. He recognized that the beauty of knowledge lies in experiencing it gradually, in letting curiosity guide us through the interval between knowing and realizing. In life, as in storms, this interval is where growth occurs, where reflection deepens, where insight matures. The thunder will come, the lesson will resonate, but it is in the anticipation and attention to the process that we find the most profound rewards. It is a call to embrace delay, to honor the space between action and result, to recognize that comprehension is a rhythm, a pulse, a measured unfolding that demands both patience and wonder. And now imagine standing after the storm, feeling the residue of energy in the air, the scent of rain, the subtle vibrations still lingering from the thunder that has finally reached you. That lingering echo is a reminder that everything of value takes time to arrive, that the world unfolds according to its own precise laws, not our impatience or expectation. Richard Feynman once said that understanding comes not from memorizing answers, but from observing, questioning, and being present in the phenomena themselves. When we apply this to our own lives, the delay between lightning and thunder becomes a metaphor for resilience, for perseverance, for the quiet faith that effort will eventually translate into effect. The storm is teaching us that insight is instantaneous, but comprehension travels slower, that inspiration strikes like lightning, bright and electrifying, while the real work, the thunder of results, rolls toward us at its own pace. To ignore this rhythm is to invite frustration, to undervalue the hidden processes that shape our growth. Every flash of clarity you experience is followed by the deeper, resonant understanding that can only emerge through patience, reflection, and active engagement. The suspense between action and outcome is not an obstacle. It is the essential space in which meaning consolidates. Just as we can estimate the distance of a storm by counting the seconds between seeing lightning and hearing thunder, we can gauge the progress of our own journeys by observing the time it takes for our efforts to manifest, for our ideas to mature, for our dreams to solidify into tangible achievement. There is profound joy in this realization, a philosophical elegance that mirrors the natural order. The universe is not chaotic but sequential, deliberate, and intelligent in its unfolding, rewarding those who learn to perceive and respect its tempo. Life, then, is not about rushing toward results, but about savoring the intervals, about being fully aware of both the immediate illumination and the delayed resonance. In those intervals lies reflection, learning, and self-discovery. Feynman's teachings remind us to remain curious, to keep questioning, to treat each experience, each flash of insight and each echo of understanding, as a chance to expand our comprehension and enrich our perspective. We are called not merely to act, but to observe, to measure, to calculate the subtle distance between intention and impact, between knowledge and wisdom. And when the thunder finally arrives, we are not surprised, we are enlightened because we have watched, we have waited, and we have internalized the lesson inherent in every delayed resonance. This is the rhythm of growth, the cadence of mastery, the harmony of insight and realization. Every storm, every flash, every clap of thunder is an invitation to recognize the natural laws that govern both the cosmos and the human spirit. By embracing these lessons, by observing the world with curiosity and attentiveness, we equip ourselves with patience, understanding, and the ability to act with purpose. So let each lightning bolt remind you that brilliance can strike in an instant, and each following thunder remind you that understanding, impact, and wisdom require their own measured time to reach you. If you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.